Life Pieces to Masterpieces really started quite serendipitously. Actually, it totally started by accident. At the time, I was working in a summer program. Larry would come and, pick me up after the summer program. There's a group of boys that were always out there making noise or just trying to be seen. And he broke out his sketch pad and started sharing with them how he was from the community and how he was now at the Corcoran. And they began to develop a relationship. The mom and dad of Life Pieces were Allie Bird and my brother Bob Brown. So they were the foundation that we kind of sprung from.
My organization helped to support Life Pieces to Masterpieces in its early stages of existence. Life Pieces had a lot of promise in terms of developing humanity in young people and the concept of love in young people.
Bob was given money by the district to show the role that youth and families and neighborhoods could play in the reform of the juvenile justice system in the city. And after being with some of our boys who had been locked up as young as age 14, I just knew, we had to really do something to liberate them from the chains of a system that dehumanized them, that devalued them, and just discarded them.
More than talking about being a young black man, it exemplifies what a young black man should have in terms of his character, in terms of his vision, in terms of his hope. In the name itself, it tells you a lot about the organization. From Life Pieces, which is your life, to Masterpieces, which is also what you do with your life.
The Children's Trust Neighborhood Initiative was in Lincoln Heights Public Housing Community, and Bob's sister Mary was working as a summer program, started a summer program with CTNI, and that summer program eventually became Life Pieces to Masterpieces.
I was visiting Allie Bird and Bob Brown and meet them about their grant proposal. And as I was walking into the building, about 10 young men were dressed very formally, and they were chanting, "Life Pieces to Masterpieces." And that ended with, "We live to create." I was intrigued.
It was just such an amazing thing to see young people as young as 3 and 4 and 5 learn to think about their thoughts, and my thoughts, my words, and my actions determine my destiny. And I knew then that this is what was needed so that these young boys did not end up where our young men were at Oak Hill.
At Life Pieces, they could be themselves. They could come out of their protective shyness.
Mary and Larry were people who felt that young men could, in fact, turn their lives into masterpieces.
Just as Larry Quick, it was about, I live to create. My purpose was to unveil potential and to nurture that potential into purposeful action. Larry Quick, Ben Johnson, and I, definitely in the beginning, we're like a tripod. And everything that Life Pieces to Masterpieces is kind of stems from that. Larry, it was his life. It was his artistry. And then I would kind of examine Larry's life and his artistry, and so I was organizing it into what we now call our human development system. And then Ben was the one to help tell our story so that we can have people interested and invest in the work that we were doing.
Mary and I made a great team in that I wasn't good at going out and presenting the organization. I would do I'd identify the foundations that I thought were a good fit. I would write the letters of inquiry, the grant proposals, kind of help Mary prep the presentations. And then Mary would go out, and Larry too, and a lot of times would just make a compelling presentation. For good reason, there was a lot of interest in the program from the foundations. And every year we just picked up a couple more, and it just kind of grew organically. From the beginning, the funding just wasn't there. It was a struggle. Larry and Mary were so committed to solving all these immediate problems, the day-to-day. And then I had a little more freedom, a little more time maybe, to do some of the infrastructure building.
Ben Johnson was really the rock and a foundation during the messy middle of change at Life Pieces to Masterpieces. Ben Johnson was the one who would drive the van, write proposals, meet with partners, and fix lunches for the boys and help with homework all at the same time.
When I came there, like I said, it was completely art focused. But I also recognized that, some of the boys that were coming there weren't, that wasn't their thing. They would participate, in the art sessions, but they were really into sports. So we started a basketball team. We were fortunate in that we had funding for uniforms, and we would go on a daily basis. We would go down to Kenilworth on the outside courts. We didn't have a gym or anything, but we would run a 2-hour practice. It was a structured, disciplined team, and then we would go around and play other teams, and I thought that was a lot of fun. The goal was to take sports and to learn life lessons from sports, the teamwork, the discipline, the humility, and then also the dedication that it takes. I felt like there was purpose. It wasn't just a job. It was trying to make an impact or do something positive.
Larry and Mary just sat there for months planning this dream and creating that core of these values, the chants, everything. Must have been an exciting moment for them both.
The poem one of our young men wrote, he was 11 at the time when he first came into Life Pieces. And the poem he wrote was this: "When I look up at the sky, I still don't know why. When I fall down on the ground, there's still no one around. When I get up on my feet, there's no one to meet. When tears fall from my face, it feels like a deserted place." So for me, to have a Life Pieces for all of our young men who feel like that young man, we need Life Pieces to continue to grow.
Now at a time, and this is our 25th anniversary, when it almost seems as though the world is waking up to the fact that something is horribly wrong with equity and fairness and justice as it pertains to Black boys and young men. As long as we have injustice, Life Pieces to Masterpieces has to exist. And so I'm committed till the day I probably draw my last breath.